please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be visiting, yep, that's what I said, the Stoic Chronicles YouTube channel. Why? Because, man, they get all the good stuff from Idubbzzz. And I keep getting copyright claims, because the music Idubbzzz plays. Also because his crash outs, his commentary, tickle me a bit. It's a fascinating way to see how his thought process is in real time, as opposed to what we used to see of old back in the day, where things were more, let's say, reactive but with the right level of snark, whereas now it's submissive because his boss is watching him.
Let's watch that Kernus. Let's watch that Kernus guy. Kernus. I like Kernus. Yeah, he made a video called Performative Males. That is kind of my competitive advantage. I think there's like a lot of like left-wing men who kind of have the fake feminist vibe to them.
Imagine my shock. There are men who fake their way through life. The same could apply to women if you think about it. The male feminist shtick has been laughed at, ridiculed religiously since the days of the skeptic feminist. Russian Deadpool is kind of the standard for where we expect you all to end up. And before anyone says that was too soon, no, it bloody well wasn't. Don't try me. If you don't know who the Russian Deadpool is, you're lucky. My view on feminism has always maintained a level of consistency. I don't have time for it. I believe in equality and I don't think a label is required. Do I think women's rights are infringed upon? No. But that's only because I believe no lives matter. At least then I'm consistent with my equality. Something which cannot be said for feminism, in its current form anyway.
But they're real soft. I'm in the video. Ugh. Well, I mean, he's going to be talking about the mustache, long hair kind of thing.
I'm of course talking.
Just before we get into Idubbzz's reaction to the whole performative blah blah blah, right? I have great issue with those that just sit there, eat, drink, offer no commentary for lengthy periods of time within any kind of response video, format, stream. I don't care for it. 30 seconds at most is fine. Any longer and you're taking the piss out of somebody else's content. You're misusing fair use as well, abusing it. Idubbzzz would do well to remember that, since one of his most well-known content cops was on Jinx for just sitting there and doing nothing while reacting to something that he did not own.
About performative males. Now I know you're all probably thinking, what is a performative male?
On its face, I don't know where this is going to go, but I think it's stupid. Just saying. I think it's just another one of these fads. I think it was probably a cute thing to talk about on TikTok for a little while. But I think it's going to be stupid. I think there's going to be no substance to it, but we'll see.
The daft thing is, performative males are remarkably common in the online space because of how fake people like to present themselves as, having no real values or fortitude to back up what they believe. They instead follow trends, which is quite common. They do as their wife or husband tells them, because they're a good little bitch, meaning they don't have the strength to be their own person. You can compare the amount of dignity, integrity that a performative male has with that of how much like flowers a fart smells like. It doesn't, so we know damn well this is wrong.
The common opinion about this genre of guy is that they're only dressing this way and behaving like this so they can attract progressive women, so they can then slide their willies in their hoo-ha. And you've seen these guys, these are the dudes reading feminist literature outside of cafes. They're writing poetry, keeping spare tampons and pads in his tote bags because he's an ally.
Since we know the majority of those guys are fake anyway, the term performative male rings true. They're not really trying to get with progressive women, they just have a kink for being shamed in public on a regular basis. Ian knows all too well about that. Unless his husband tells him to do otherwise, he does as he's told.
It is interesting. It is interesting. I do actually like videos like this. Even, I mean, we'll see where it goes. He might just say all these same things, but I think that that's why it's a little bit bothersome, is just the fact that it is another one of these mechanisms to make it not acceptable to, like, be a human and be yourself, and it's another way to mock or ridicule.
All of this spoken with no level of irony from somebody who is the living embodiment of hypocrisy at this point. Yet again, the video showed it speeding up and you offering no possible commentary to anything. You were just eating. I have issues with people eating on stream unless you're doing mukbangs. I find it quite unprofessional. But that's just a me thing. I don't have as many viewers as him on Twitch. Although I do get more viewers live on YouTube than he does on his Twitch, so I guess I have something there at least. Streaming here, by the way, later, provided OBS doesn't shit itself again. I had to reverse it back about 4 times. But when it comes to the idea of ridiculing one another rather than being human, you're forgetting the human element involves judgment and ridicule. It is a part of the human condition that has existed for millennia. It is why so many wars were fought. It is why so many classes existed, and still exist to this day, or castes, if you like. It's why you were at the top, the creme de la creme of YouTube, and were considered a class unto yourself. Now, you are still a class unto yourself, but you're beneath so many YouTubers and streamers who can look at you and go, man, you are a cuck.
Men for reading? Like, that is like, you read, you're called a you read in public? That's performative.
I feel like you missed the point. It wasn't about reading in public, where there is no real issue at all. It's the choice of literature. That's the part that people latch on to. It comes across as disingenuous because, typically, it could be called Harry Potter and the feminism. I promise you, they'd only read it to make it look like they were good, the right person. Now, I know that's contradictory to beliefs on JK. That's fine. Point still stands. It would sell millions if it was titled Harry Potter and...
It's like, it's a silly concept on its face, and it fuels the same sort of misogynist stupidity.
But obviously people are a little skeptical when it comes to the sincerity of these men. But real quick, you are lying if you say you've never pretended to be interested in a certain topic to attract a specific person.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. So it is true. I think you do this a lot when you're younger, where you just fake shit because you don't know who the are and you don't have any confidence and you're confused. Sure.
Is Idubbzzz trying to be a contrarian? Trying to find a hole to poke? Perhaps say that once you hit a certain part where you're no longer a young adult, your opinions are cemented and your beliefs are there, and this is honest and true and humane. It's not. A lot of views change throughout their lifetime. It's why you're often considered a different person at a different stage. For you, it's not even a regression, it is an evolution in your character and your person. It's unfortunately, though, the one done with the wrong stone. I don't know which one it is, but you're not an Eevee. Yet somehow you evolved into a Psyduck. And then before someone says I've just done Psyduck dirty, go from Eevee to Psyduck, tell me that's dirty, please. I'd be pissed too, by the way, if I had an Eevee that evolved into a Psyduck.
The idea of doing something, like we gave this example a few streams ago, some men really struggle to receive some people struggle to receive compliments. And in turn, they also struggle to give compliments.
Oh no, he's been watching my streams. People pay like 5,000 channel points for that. It's free, just to be clear. You accumulate it as long as you're active in my chat. At 5,000 points, I give people compliments. I'm really bad at it. I also don't like being complimented that much either. So let's do an experiment, if you've made it this far in the video, to drive up engagement in the comments. The best possible complisult, which is a compliment that can be considered insulting, put it in the comments. Refrain from profanity and try the articulate, if possible, because YouTube flagged them. I can't be asked. I can't keep approving them, alright? Play the game and play it well. Best one gets pinned.
So there is an amount of just what feels like insincerity that you need, or inauthenticity that you need to convey just to practice the effort of being more human and making these connections.
The best time to teach that is with children, because then they are more human. We as adults, and because of the growing number of issues with mental health, we find that with adults it's a lot harder to teach it, mostly because of those issues, also because some people are just so full of themselves being colloquial for SHIT.
I unfortunately have been lumped into this group, mostly because I look a lot like these dudes. Mullet, mustache, tattoo. The whole reason that performative males are doing this is so they can get with women. I married you idiots. I've been with my wife for like 10 years, dude. Leave me alone. So I want to get ahead of any...
So a couple things I want to highlight. First, the mullet needs to go the way of the dinosaurs and go back to the 80s, preferably. The random tattoo thing I've seen on so many people now, it's not so performative as it is boredom, and the cuck mating call was accurate. You being married, though, now this is where I might seem like I'm just looking for a negative, does not mean any of your behaviors are not considered performative. And I say this as a fellow creator because far too many creators I have encountered are performative. They do not have a backbone or substance. Being married does not negate you of the responsibility of being a performative male. Too many snakes have been here too long. I promise you, far too many are that.
These boring ass tweets that are gonna 100...
Look, come across as a little defensive, though.
Exhibit A. So sick of seeing this genre of man. And this is the one that started it all. Picture of me and Idubbzzz. Just gonna say I had to look way before him, okay?
I honestly didn't even realize that was the same guy. I thought it was a kids' TV presenter in Australia or something. Like he was trying to rip off Laserbeam's appearance for a moment. Are you gonna start throwing keyboards at the wall as well?
Hello. Prepare for me to periodically pop up throughout this video because while I was editing, I found more stuff and also thought of more stuff. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this so sick of this genre of man screenshot. It goes viral every few months. And, you know, it does suck to see it all the time, but I've realized, you know, over the years that it's actually like bringing...
Man, sometimes I'm reminded things could be a lot worse.
Yes, you could be Idubbzzz, a channel whose relevancy has gone out the window in favor of doing reaction content on Twitch for what minimal viewership he gets compared to what he could have had and retain had he simply not been an asshole to himself and to others, I guess. I still don't understand why you don't multi-stream, because you can get more viewers and get more attention if you simply did this to YouTube as well. But laziness is another one of those key traits for the performative male. It comes from wanting to gatekeep and purity test things, so you believe that for the sake of convenience, YouTube is the best place for videos. Streaming the best place is Twitch. Not entirely true, but we'll leave that for now.
You could see a picture like this and have the thought, that sucks to see. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I see a pic like that,
so sick.
I'm like, oh, badass.
I can promise you with the hand on one of my hearts, there is nothing badass about having a mullet, or being beta, a cuck, having too much soy in one's system, for losing every boxing match they've ever been involved in, for crying about that as well, boxing that is, for not raising money for charity, destroying their own YouTube channel, eking out an existence on Twitch while living in the basement of their wife's parents' house in Canada.
I'm like, cool. What a cool little, like, cute little meme.
Of this genre of man screenshot. It goes viral every few months. And, you know, it does suck to see it all the time, but I've realized, you know, over the years that it's actually like bringing people together, which is really nice. I've seen like dozens of right-wing...
Well, it's not even that. It's not, like, it is literally just the culture. It's like a historical thing.
That's true. It's why every year I get sent the same Thanksgiving Cthulhu-inspired meal images, memes. Same at Christmas, or Moistmas as we call it. At Easter, in fact, any holiday where a tentacle can be inserted, I am sent pictures and memes. It's been going on for over 10 years, couldn't care less. It tickles me to no end that we'll do it still, and I'm just honoured people would even consider sending it my way. When you try and embrace the joke, it's a great sign of humility to an extent. How you go about it, though, is often where that humility goes out the window in favour of what's typically dubbed cope. Which is where Idubbzzz comes into it, because a lot of what he does is not humility, it's cope. The distinction is clear when you watch his streams.
Like, when someone in the year 2050 looks over time, and they're showing what guys look like in the 2020s, they're going to show the look that you had, because it was popular, and it spoke to a certain thing, you know? It spoke to... in some ways, a bit of a softness. In some ways, it spoke to a
massive deconstruction of men's testosterone levels, which are now lower than a man in his 70s. It shows because of those poxy mullets. The skinny-ass legs have never done a leg day. clothes that are baggy not for mobility's sake, but because they want to look as androgynous as possible. Oh, and because the rhetoric is typically that of somebody who's smooth-brained. When people look back on this decade, I hope they look back on it with shame and say, why the hell did we do an 80s Take-Two Electric Boogaloo but without the fun music to accompany it, and the excessive drugs?
Maybe, like, you know, the performative feminism or whatever. It spoke to taking a look from back in the, 80s, 70s? I don't know when this look was, we had this, but I would imagine it would be around there. Like, maybe like disco era? Yeah. Bushy says, the look is retro/nostalgic. Yeah, exactly.
The look is greasy. There's nothing nostalgic about looking like you haven't showered your balls in a month. Would I be right to assume that in the next decade of this world's existence, grunge is suddenly going to have a comeback? If it does, I'm going to slap you with it. I have a hate boner for the grunge because it tried to defeat the metal, but it was smoten down to the ground.
So we just echo this shit throughout time. Maybe now it's, you know, it's starting to become a little bit more solidified.
So do me a favour and explain why it is that neck collars haven't come back, you know, like the ones William Shakespeare wore. Oh, it turns out people learnt their lesson. Hopefully they will with the mullet, the greasy look, the random ass tattoos. Oh, but they all have a hidden meaning, guys, a hidden meaning. They bloody don't, shut up. Be honest with yourself and you can stop telling porky pies to everyone else as well. Most importantly, you. I had honestly thought when Idubbzzz started getting all those tattoos, it was only because his wife was drawing them on him while he slept in his dog bed.
Make fun of how I look because of this picture. But that's not all, okay? I actually just saw this page, women's rights _news, which is a page dedicated to intersectional feminism, gender equality, pro-choice, abortion rights, and health and reproductive rights. All those are great in my books. But they also just reposted it as well. So, you know, that one stings.
Maybe it's because they see these kind of appearances, and annoyingly, as much as you may like it or hate it, there are far too many people who are performative that look like you. That doesn't mean you have to change, you just have to lead the charge in being a better person. If people can't do that as well, then chances are your look has been co-opted, and it's been co-opted by all the bad people, the bad actors as it were. You're never going to be able to shake that. No matter how hard you try, it will always be a problem. The well has been poisoned, right? Good luck trying to find an antidote. For as long as the mullet exists, there won't be one.
But you know, it is comforting to know that no matter where you...
That one stings? No, dude. It's a meme page.
I took the liberty of looking through the women's rights _news Instagram account. A lot of it is blatant sexism towards men, so misandry. Others are memes, yes. So Idubbzzz is correct in that. I scrolled for quite a while and could not find the picture that was being referenced, which tells me either it was even further back than I thought, or it had been removed at the request of people within the image, which I could believe to be true, which would make some people a bit of a bitch. I don't recommend bothering to look at the account, it is a load of bollocks, unless you really want to help with a good bowel movement.
Stand on feminism. Both sides, both sides can agree that I look dumb. That's
No, dude. No one's saying you look dumb. Listen, Connor, you look beautiful. No one's saying it's dumb.
Actually, the meme would indicate yes is the answer to that. The only reason you're not in agreement of that is because you're also featuring within the meme. The thing is, everything you do is performative. It will always be regarded as such by the online space for as long as your wife is within arm's reach of you. And she always is when you're streaming. She's right there next to you, just off camera. Why? Because you're a bitch that can't be trusted on your own, apparently. Sorry, your love got stronger so much every single day that you just had to get closer and closer. Right. I assume the closest you really get is when you're holding the camera while she's pegging another guy.
People are acknowledging that it's like the current fad. And people like me show up to the scene, and we're looking for a new look. And I'm like, well, that's a look that I could do. Listen, not a lot of us white guys have the options to do much else to express ourselves, right?
There are plenty of options for all people to express themselves. Unless you're trying to now say, but you can't have braids, even though historically that can be traced back to Vikings. Or you're going to try and say perhaps you can't dress with certain clothing because they belong to certain cultures, which in and of itself is a racist idea in the first place. The reason you want to say things like that, the cute little term, is a way of making it seem like your options are limited, so the best you can hope for is redneck, hillbilly, 80s greaseball trash. Have you just considered being yourself without your wife telling you what to do first? Now, as I've reached the end of this because I've run out of time, I'm afraid, I would love to know what you all think. Please do let me know in the comments down below. As far as reaction content goes, I don't care for the fact that for a lot of that person's video, Ian offered nothing but chicken eat. Is that not cannibalism? If I don't see you here later for a stream, hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for listening.